and when he marched the entire army into that base, you saw those 3 little sentries lagging behind, you knew it was coming. And 2 force fields later, and Thorzane was awfully low on main bases.
Exactly, just filtering the units on that ramp so the Colossus could do as much damage as possible. And as soon as the Vikings even tried to come close, Stalkers, sentries were there. I think, in all honesty, that Thorzane's mistake that game was that he just went far too Viking heavy, expected White Ra to go a lot more Colossus heavy. Therefore, having all these Vikings that really in the end battle just couldn't do anything. They were trying to get shots off, but the ground army was not there. And he used all the production time on the double starport with reactors on Vikings rather than Medivacs. And that was kind of key because he kept on using Stim. White Ra even forcing him to use Stim over and over and over. Putting all his units into yellow and red health and then cleaning up the rest.
Such patient play by White Ra in that game. And I mean, it was a little bit too much for his opponent to handle, so very well played. Our next game is going to be MaDFroG against Elfi. Again, we have to find out from the players what the next map will end up being.
And this is going to be a ZVP. MaDFroG obviously being a Zerg player, and Elfi, I don't really know too much about him, being a Protoss player. From what I've heard against players that I've spoke to, he likes very strong one-base play. I'm not sure if he doesn't feel that his macro can keep up with the top players, but he really does like to stick on one base and try to end the game as fast as possible. And I'm pretty sure MaDFroG knows about this, so that's obviously what he's got to be careful about. And when we do find out the map, that's going to be vital, depending on, because you have maps like Blistering Sands, where one-base Protoss play is so hard to play against when you're playing a Zerg.
Yeah, now one thing to note though, MaDFroG has an extremely unique style of Zerg. I mean, we see the very solid, sharp play of players like Idra or something like that. We see the extremely creative, pretty much unpredictable play of the Little One or something like that. But MaDFroG has this very unusual reliance on queens and kind of delayed gas in a lot of his plays. He's very good at early defense with Zerg, especially. So I think that this is going to be a good match for MaDFroG coming in. But again, similar to the previous series, Thorzane was an unknown and played very, very well, a lot better than what you would expect from that kind of unknown player. So Elfi has the exact same advantage. We really don't know what he's going to be doing, and I think that Elfi is going to be quite pleased with the fact that the map is Lost Temple that they're going to be playing on. I honestly would have thought that that would have been a very early eliminated map for MaDFroG.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how the elimination went through, but Lost Temple is going to be the map we are going to play on. This is going to be interesting because there are a lot of different styles that Protoss players can do depending on how aggressive they want to be. Obviously, you have the pylon block with the cannons, you have the one gateway with the forge, and then you get the cannons with a zealot to fight off the drones. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays this out. MaDFroG knowing all these styles as he trains day in, day out against the best Protoss players in Europe, so he knows all these styles and is going to be very well prepared for this. But as you said, Elfi, being the little unknown, again, gives him a slight advantage against a more known player.
Yeah, and on this map, I think that what's going to be very hard for all Zergs is a good 2-base timing push by Protoss. Again, you said that that isn't Elfi's style, but if he's the sort of player who loves the 1-base all-in, hopefully he has extended to the 2-base all-in. Now, what I'm referring to is the 6-gateway play, where you take a Nexus and you go for exactly 38 probes. That's an important number. 16 at your main, 16 at your expansion, and 6 mining gas. And 16 plus 16 plus 6 is oftentimes 38, hence making the 38 probe push. You get a lot of basic units and push very early on. So it's extremely difficult for Zergs to defend against because it's impossible to put pressure on early.
Yeah, that is actually such a strong build. And that's what a lot of Zerg players have been having trouble with. And we were talking, both of us were talking to MaDFroG before, and he actually knew that kind of style and was like, actually, that's really difficult to play against.
Yeah, definitely.
And it will be interesting to see if Elfi does decide to go with this. Another kind of style that's very hard for Zerg players to deal with is the Colossus. I mean, even though you can get Corruptors, Mutas to help fight against it, the Colossus, when microed well and held towards the back, especially when you have the correct amount of sentries to keep units away from the Colossus, they just tear through all the Zerg units. Extremely hard to play against.
No doubt, and it looks like the players are ready, and we even have a German streamer, Kaldor, in the series, so give a shout out to Kaldor for any of you in the crowd. Hey, for Kaldor. That's right, so we are going directly into Game 2 from Group A action of Elfi against MaDFroG. Give a cheer for Elfi!
And give a shout out for the most handsome StarCraft 2 player, SK MaDFroG.
And it looks like we are going directly into Game 2 here in Group A. We have Elfi spawning in the right position as the blue Protoss. In the bottom, we have MaDFroG spawning as the red Zerg.
And this is going to be key straight away. That's one of the things we always have to look about as soon as we go into a StarCraft 2 game is the spawning locations, because they actually determine the entire strategy and how the game will develop from early, mid to late game. And depending on when Elfi wants to scout, it's going to be extremely important. If he does go down, oh look, actually he isn't sending this probe down here. He is moving it down onto the ramp, and he's going to put a pylon right down on the ramp. So it should be interesting to see how he develops this. If he is going to put the forge down, or is he going to go for the gateway, we don't know. I suspect that he will be going for a forge, doing a lot of early pressure into MaDFroG, but MaDFroG is scouting in the right direction. Therefore, the Overlord will be placed on the cliff right next to this pylon, and is going to know exactly what's going on. We really need to follow exactly what Elfi does in this match, as he will be sending a probe down now any second, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very unfortunate positioning for MaDFroG because these bases are so close. And it's really difficult to defend against an ordinary push in close positions, especially against a two-base push, because really, if you're in MaDFrog's spot, what do you take as your third base? It is almost impossible to have an easy third choice.
This is actually really interesting, Day9. He's actually saving up minerals. It looks like he may be going for Nexus first, which is really incredible, especially in these positions. And he is going to go down and put the Nexus down first. And at the same time, we have MaDFroG going for 13 gas, 13 pool. So this is going to be super interesting to see how this develops. And MaDFroG is going to move this Overlord down. He's going to see the pylon and sees no forge, no gateway, and is going to suspect exactly what's going on. And it wouldn't surprise me if he does go for early speed straight away to try and do as much harassment and try to get in there as soon as possible.
And there's the forge going down by Elfi. This is an extremely tense period in time. The forge has just started, but the spawning pool is almost done. Meanwhile, it looks like Elfi is not even building any probes at all. He is definitely very scared of early pressure, even opting to throw down a gateway quickly. And why is the probe going up? There is nothing there. You've seen the Overlord. Oh no.
That's a very
huge
amateur
blunder.
mistake.
I mean, it's so key that it's not just that an Overlord is here, it's the angle from which it came. There's the probe getting sent down, but Elfi, despite this blunder, is having very good timing. Looks like there's the photon cannon going down, but oh, MaDFroG sending drones. And Zerglings are behind as well.
And he's going to try to get onto the cannon as soon as possible with these drones. He's trying to get the surround on the cannon. And if we look, it's only half health. He manages to take this cannon down. This could be game right now. And he cancels the Nexus. This is huge. He is panicking and needs to try and block in. But it's not link tight. The links even get in. And it is looking pretty bad for this game.
Oh no, MaDFroG with a potentially successful drone rush in this game. So many cannons getting thrown down, and it looks like MaDFroG is trying to split up his units to pick all of these cannons off. One more cannon is very close to finishing. It looks like MaDFroG will be able to pick these off. Didn't get canceled in time. One cannon is up, but the probe count is not looking too good. A second cannon. Big blunder by MaDFroG. Oh no, he picks off the pylon that doesn't unpower anything, and now this is 5 drones committed by MaDFroG into the main, and Elfi re-walling off. Weirdly enough, this game is still pretty even. What is going on?
Oh, MaDFroG slipped. I mean, he had the clear. It looked like he could have just clearly won that game. And Elfi really pulling through there, manages to get these cannons up and walling out. But look at these drones are trying to get down these probes. But if we look at the unit counting station, it's 14 probes versus 12 drones, even though he has got the hatchery gone down, but he's successfully managed to defend that. And I actually can't believe he's still in this.
Oh, it looks like the drones nibbled their way into 1 kill collectively, but most have lost their lives. So I just think it would be very funny if MaDFroG stole his gas right now.
That'd be really funny. I don't even think that MaDFroG should be thinking that. He is going to get rid of that pylon. That's quite an interesting decision, actually. What do you reckon the reason for that was?
I mean, in my eyes, Elfi just sent a scout probe down here, saw that there was really nothing. So even though he had to do emergency defense versus these early links, now it's essential that he puts pressure on it. Oh my goodness!
Elfi, this is crazy! And he is waypointing Zealous down, and now MaDFroG is actually stuck within his base. 3 links are out. But this is actually, as soon as his pylon finishes, he's going to be wanting to put a cannon down. And oh my god, tables have turned.
And you said Elfi loved one-base cheesy plays, but I don't think anyone expected this. And there's the cannon going down, taking a little bit of damage, but it looks like this pylon is close to finishing. There's another pylon going down to finish the re-wall also. It looks like Elfi will have to pull back. but he does have these 2 Zealots here trying to do a lot of damage, and it looks like that finally gets taken down, and now there are 2 more Zealots doing a lot of damage, but the probes are going to surround, and Elfi's not giving up on the cannon rush yet, trying to bring 2 probes in, but that will, and there's the good game from Elfi. Wow.
What a crazy mind game that was.
That is
my
an
God.
insane game.
Oh my God, as soon as he realized that that was going to fail, he's so far behind, he cut probes, he did not have the economy, the hatchery was down for MaDFroG, and oh my God, what a crazy game that was. That was just intense, so back and forth.
You know, and I think that that is really an example of Elfi's inexperience in this sort of LAN environment, because, like you just mentioned, when we opened up the unit counting station, we saw that Elfi was not actually so far behind. He had a decent amount of probes, had in fact more than his opponent. He had a great defense set up to take an expansion, yet because that early bust almost killed him, the adrenaline convinced him that he probably had to do a big